So welcome to the sixth video in a series about creating charts in .xlsx files with Python using Google Colab. In this video we're going to be looking at creating combined charts where we combine one or two different types of .xlsx charts. In previous videos I've looked at some of the other common charts in .xlsx files, including column, pie, line, bar, and scatter. And in this one we're going to be looking at combined, which in this example is going to involve combining a line and a column chart. So I do this in Google Colab and in a Jupyter notebook, and let's jump into looking at this example of creating a combined chart in Google Colab in the Jupyter notebook. Also, I should also mention that all the code used in this video is in the description of the video below. Combined charts. So this is when we might build an Excel chart that uses two chart types. And in this example, I'll be using the US unemployment rate retrieved using Pandas Data Reader Python library. And I'm going to combine it with a column chart that shows recent recessions. So the end result will be a combination of a column and a line chart. And as with some other as with the other chart examples I've done in this video series, I'll be using the Pandas data frame to Excel method and Pandas Excel writer. Yeah, some great documentation on the Pandas website, and really extensive examples, although I haven't linked it here, can be found on the XLSX writer documentation website. So here I'm going to do pip install XLSX writer, and I need the Pandas data reader library. Something I've done in a few other videos is I created the start and end date time objects that are the third and fourth arguments to this function, or parameters to this function. If you go to the Pandas data reader, or if you just Google Pandas data reader, you should get the documentation for this library and lots of extensive examples that aren't necessarily relevant, but if you want to look into it further. Here, as I did on my line chart video, I'm creating an Excel date here because number one in Excel is the 1st of January 1900. So I created an Excel date reference from this, from the Pandas, from the Python date. So in here I make a month year column, and I hard code the recession dates based on looking them up at the mber.org website, which is the National Bureau of Economic Research. They determine when a business cycle is contracting or growing, and they're the ones who officially set dates, at least in the United States. So that's where I get this from. It's it's not a perfect way to do this, but it's good for this example. So I don't want to beat it over the head with too much detail. So jumping into where we create the Excel file. So we just do the data frame to Excel, and so that just puts our end data frame here into the Excel file. I don't use the index. So I create two different chart objects here. So the first one is chart 0. You can call it whatever you want, but you could call it chart line or chart whatever. I've just called it chart 0, and that's instantiating a line chart, and then chart 1 is instantiating a column chart, and then with chart 1, then with chart 0, I use add series to put the unemployment rate in there and reference the values and the categories. And then I do the same for chart 1, which is the column. And then something I shy away from in a lot of examples because I think it overcomplicates things. But here it is kind of necessary based on the data we had. I set the interval units, and I also rotate the date references on the x-axis, and I do a little bit of formatting here. I make them bold. And then I also set the max of the y-axis because my recession column that I made up here goes as high as 100, but the unemployment rate only goes, typically to around 10% because I'm only looking through between 2000 and 2019. I don't want it to be above what the maximum unemployment rate is, which is where I use this, dot max, and I add 1 to it. And then, of course, I insert the chart and set a title. I don't set a legend. And, let me run this, and if there's anything that's slightly unclear, I think it'll be a lot clearer as we look at the output and the code side by side. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. And, nothing new in my traceback, so make sure I get the latest version. Now I've downloaded this, I'll look at the output in Excel Libre, and we'll see it side by side with the code. Excel Libre open, and we're looking at the output we just created. So here you'll see my two columns, the recession bars. Remember I said, I added them in based on these dates, and I made them 100. So you'll see that from March 2001 through November 2001, when there was a recession, according to the National Bureau of Economic Research. I put that value in there. And then again for the next recession, whenever that starts, December 2007 through December 2008. And I just used the data frame to Excel method to spit this out. There are options where you can hide a column like a recession. I didn't for this example. So yeah, let's move on to the actual worksheet and the chart. So as you can see here for the add series, for the arguments for add series, for the values, again I use this little trick. Well, it's not really a trick. Just where I take the value of the length of the data frame and add 2 to it, because the length of the data frame is 0 indexed, and I want this A to go to start A2 and then go all the way to the length of the data frame, the 0 indexed plus 2, which will be the end of this column. And the same thing for the category, which is the date, or the Excel date as we see it formatted in here. Yeah, for the same thing for the recession, and I did some transparency on the reason I did this transparency transparency 80, and I recommend looking at the XLSX writer docs for full information about this and some other options with the fill, color blue, this kind of this dictionary here. Again, the XLSX writer docs have great information on all these chart types if you want to customize it more. This is just a basic example. So here I wanted to do transparency 80 so that you can see this line. You know, so the column chart doesn't block out the line chart, but still prominent enough that you see it. And some other key things to notice. Yeah, I did the rotation of -45, so you get this nice angle instead of just a flat Jan 0, 0. And I also made this font bold, so it's fairly prominent. Yeah, and I set the y-axis limit to whatever the maximum unemployment rate was +1. So it's somewhere, I don't know exactly what it is, but it's somewhere around 10. And we just took the default sort of settings as to what Excel gave us, or you know, yeah, as to what Excel gave us. And these seem to work pretty well. And also we did set a minimum of 0, although there's no values below 0, so I think by default we didn't necessarily have to do that. Or yeah, no, I think it's best to put it in there, safest to put it in there. And we inserted the chart at cell reference E2. So yeah, I mean that's about it. There's a lot more you can do. This was a fairly involved example compared to some of the other ones I do. But yeah, there's a lot you can do with combined charts, and obviously the cool thing with XLSX Writer and Pandas and OpenPyXL is that you're not making an image of a chart in Excel. This chart is directly linked to the data here, which is perfect if you're making some kind of Excel output for a user. So anyway, that's about it for this video. The full code for this that's used in this video is in the description below, along with code for other types of XLSX charts in Python. So, okay, thank you.